So a lot of obviously compound lifts. So you're looking at your deadlifts, your bench press, and your squats.
Straight away, Ryan Terry isn't messing around, taking 3 of his big exercises off with the squats, deadlift and bench press. He's gone straight for it. He's thinking compound movements and seeing what exercises hit the most muscle groups. The squats primarily targeting the glutes, quads and hamstrings, while the bench press primarily targets the pec major and minor, anterior deltoids and the triceps. And finally the deadlift, which hits more muscles out of the 3 exercises, and that is glutes, hamstrings, lower back, and it also engages the quads, core and also your upper back muscles.
They're always good. Again, these are things that I've had to adapt over the years because of injuries and things, training silly when I was younger.
Okay, there's 3.
I think Ryan Terry is talking more specifically about squats and deadlifts here. At the ripe age of 30, these are 2 exercises I don't necessarily do anymore just because they don't agree with me. Don't get me wrong, I am not saying they are bad exercises. They are great exercises for building both muscle and strength, but in my opinion, I think the risk really outweighs the reward on these. So, do you agree with him so far with the first 3 exercises? Let me know in the comment section.
Hanging leg raise for core. It's one of the hardest midsection. If you do it properly, I think it's one of the hardest midsection exercises, but it's phenomenal for your transverse abdominals, your upper and lower abdominals, everything. It's a great, I feel like that was something that helped me build my midsection.
So just like C-Bum himself, Ryan Terry has chosen the hanging leg raises. The hanging leg raises are an effective core exercise that strengthens your lower abs, hip flexors, and also your grip strength as you're hanging onto the bar. And this exercise could also help improve stability and posture.
What are the cues that people get wrong when they're doing hanging leg raises?
So they create momentum, they swing, which I think that has a bit to do with CrossFit with this kipping, malarkey and momentum stuff that came into play.
He couldn't help himself, could he?
A fair few years ago. But yeah, I think swinging, I think using the hip flexors instead of the midsection.
How do you know if you're doing that?
You'll feel it. You'll feel it down your quads.
With the hanging leg raises, it isn't necessarily a beginner-friendly exercise. This could be an exercise which can be extremely difficult. 1, you could really incorporate your lower back when you bring your feet in level with your hips. 2, you might incorporate your quads into this slightly. You might slightly bend your knees, causing your quads to contract. And finally 3, your forearm could give way. As you're holding on to a straight bar for a long amount of time, this does fatigue your forearm.
With hanging leg raises, are you going to an L? Are you going up to touch the bar?
So either. So I used to do all the way to the top, but I alternate now. So I just do a bit of both. I think there's a place for both of them, but I think that when you go past a certain point, you are recruiting other muscle groups. So if you want to just isolate your midsection, just go to 90 degrees.
That is a great tip there from Ryan Terry. Anything past 90 degrees will start rounding your spine and really start incorporating that lower back.
So I'd go with some isolation work. So we'll probably go with like an incline dumbbell chest, just because you can do a lot of different variations on that, but I think it's great for development.
Need I say more? The incline dumbbell chest press is my favorite exercise to do in the gym. This is a great exercise because not only does it target the upper chest fibers, it also includes some front delt and also triceps. As you're using dumbbells, you can really lower that weight at the bottom of the movement, getting a deep stretch, which a barbell doesn't allow you to do.
Shoulders aren't getting much work at the moment.
All right, shoulder press. We'll go with a dumbbell shoulder press.
The funny thing is, Ryan Terry seemed very reluctant to include a shoulder exercise into this. Chris had to give him a little nudge. If you're doing anything less than 6 reps on a dumbbell shoulder press, it can become a little risky because you may have difficulty getting the dumbbells into position because you're using a heavier weight. But other than that, this is a great exercise because it targets both your front and the lateral head of your delts.
Because it's great for isolation, unilateral. And that's quite important.
The safer choice would probably to go for a plate-loaded shoulder press machine. That's because you don't have to necessarily worry about getting the weight into the starting position, as your hands and your weight are already starting above your shoulder. All you have to really do is focus on pushing the weight and controlling the negatives. The only downside to this is on a plate loaded machine, you can't go as low as you can on the dumbbell. But this really might be for your own good, not allowing you to get that really deep stretch on your shoulder at the bottom of the movement and potentially damaging your rotator cuff. If you're enjoying this video so far, give it a thumbs up.
Obviously leg work. So we need to do some hamstring work. So we'd do. I would say stiff leg deadlift, but no. I think if we're going to try and create some growth, I think we're going to go for like a lying hamstring curl heavy.
Although Ryan Terry has chosen the deadlift, which does incorporate some hamstrings, he wants to choose an exercise that strictly isolates the hamstrings. That being the lay-in leg curl, he maybe opted against the stiff leg deadlift because he's already got one form of deadlifts.
You prefer a lying to a seated?
I do, yes. Yeah, I do. But I don't know if that's down to the fact that I just get better contraction off that. I think it's personal preference in my eyes. That I've always said that with any type of exercises, if you feel an exercise more than another, stick with it, go with it, do the extra sets and reps on that particular exercise, because that's where you're going to get the most out of it.
I really like the message which Ryan Terry says here. Just because everybody is preaching about one exercise doesn't mean you should do it if it doesn't necessarily agree with you. The most important thing is choosing an exercise that you could have a really good mind-muscle connection with. And some people will have a way better mind-muscle connection with some exercises than other people. But the lay-in leg curl is a great exercise as your hips and your abs are supported. You're not necessarily incorporating any other muscles into this. All the hamstring curl is knee flexion. Just bringing the ball of your heel to your butt by only moving your knee, really squeezing at the top of the movement and feeling that contraction and controlling the weight on the way down.
Seated calf raise.
Seated calf raise. Oh,
Yeah.
So you want to get the soleus moving?
Yeah, we'll get them in.
I didn't expect that. Let me know in the comment section if you're including a calf exercise in your 10 exercises.
And then
2 left.
we need overhead tricep extension, rope.
Pivoted from the bottom of a pulley.
Yep.
Right, okay, yeah.
So the overhead tricep extension primarily targets the long head of the tricep by extending the arms overhead and emphasizing a full stretch and contraction of the tricep muscles. This isn't necessarily my favorite tricep exercise to do. As we said before, I can't really get a good mind-muscle connection with this exercise. I'd much rather pull the rope down to my sides and extend it that way. And if I specifically want to target the long head of my triceps, I much prefer the skull crushers.
We need biceps, don't we? Then we've got everything then.
Last but not least, the biceps.
What's your number one bicep exercise?
What is my number one bicep?
That is his last exercise and his one and only bicep exercise. You can see the thought he's putting into this.
You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say it, and this is a bit of an outward one, this, because I've done loads of them today, is pull-ups, close grip pull-ups.
So that is a great choice and a very practical choice. He's not necessarily thinking about a bicep specific exercise. Although he's going to be doing a close grip pull-up, this also targets the back also. So it's 2 birds, 1 stone.
I know it's a back workout, but your secondary muscle is bicep, and the contraction I get off that for my bicep, every week I hit them. I always want to bring my back up anyway, so it's an excuse to just hit the back as well. But I think that's a great overall exercise.
So other than the deadlift, which incorporates his back, Ryan Terry doesn't necessarily have any back specific exercises. So with one exercise left, it just does make total sense for him to choose an exercise that does hit 2 birds, 1 stone. So after hearing him say that and his lack of back exercises, he may be thinking twice now about choosing a calf exercise as one of his 10, but I guess we'll never know. So Ryan Terry's 10 exercises are now on the screen. Let me know in the comment section if you agree or if you would change any. And let me know in the comment section your 10 exercises you will choose. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, smash the subscribe, and watch this next video.